around that Navdurga time. Navdurga, he created some content on sub, the text that belongs to Durga and goddess worship. And he said that they were in Rishikesh, I think, at that time, and he would like record late until night. And because they were covering a lot of ground, the 3-4 hours of recording every day will go late in night. And he said that since the consciousness level in such recordings, etc., goes up to such high level that it is impossible to sleep for an hour or two after that. And then we slept, and then he said, because I had to do a lot of work and all that, I automatically got up at 5 or 6 without any alarm, without anything. So he said, like, when important things take your time, then everything disappears. I mean, nothing, everything just is that consciousness itself is when you are near Atma, Anusashan, when you are near your Atman, that itself is the Anusashan. It is not imposed. It arises from within. So my question to that was that happens to common people as well. Right? I mean, to me, for example, if I am deeply into some session and after that I can't sleep, and if I'm teaching something, like enjoying the time, but that adrenaline pumping in the body is different from what Acharyaji was saying. I'm sure, but I just want to kind of confirm on that.
Why you are naming it as adrenaline pumping?
I don't know, because it is conditioning, because I have learned it from outside. People say that it is all adrenaline that pumps.
I mean, if you are devoted to some higher cause, right? So if you're doing something beyond yourself, that is actually that is the time you are very close to Atma.
Okay.
So you are already under the Anushasan of Atma. That means the discipline of Atma. Atma's discipline, you are already operating under that discipline. So whether it is Acharyaji or you, it does not matter.
Okay. That I have experienced a few times.
Yeah, but I mean,
so that is similar.
So I think I shared one video with you today, and he was.
Yeah, I have not seen it yet, but I saw that.
He was giving some examples in that. Like the questioner was very much prodding. He was asking him, what are those examples where you can say that you are devoted to some cause or something like that? It has taken over your life. And so he was giving like a crude example. He was saying that let's take an example of freedom fighters. So freedom fighters, they had a bigger cause beyond themselves during their lifetime. They wanted to get the independence for India. So that was a bigger cause beyond themselves. And they're fighting for that cause. So now this guy has devoted his life to strive all his life for the independence of the country. Now in that strive, in that process, what kind of people he'll be attracting to his circle, what his circle is going to be like. So he was saying that in that phase, or in that struggle period, he would be attracting people, the like-minded people who just think like him. So it does not matter whether there will be some males or females. There could be females also. And in that process, if some partner he chooses, that partner will also have the same vision. So the devotion is for that vision first. And just because he's also devoted to that vision and she's also devoted to that vision, they both have the first responsibility towards the vision, and they are liking the other person because he's devoted to that cause. They are falling in love with that person because he's also equally devoted to that cause. So in these kind of relationships, he was saying that there is no personal bondages or attachments, and all those things do not come into picture. he was saying. So for the sake of that bigger cause, if the guy has to live for like maybe 3 months, 4 months away from her, that is not going to bring anxieties and jealousies and all those things in her, because she will be even more happier. She will be happier that, okay, he's gone. The same thing she wanted to do, now he's doing it. So he was saying when the relationship based on such higher causes, those relationship has a different quality. But when you are your relationship, like your relationship with work and relationship with the other person, they are two separate things. He gave the example of a aircraft, a flight, aeroplane. He was saying there are two engines, and the both engines are operating to take the flight forward to the same direction. It's taking it to the same direction vertically. But here, if your relationship with the other person and the job, so job you are doing it because you have created a split in your life. You're saying job you are doing it to get earnings, to money, and this relationship with the other person, you are having your other carnal needs for sex and all those things, or love, or these kind of things. So these two things are not together. There is a split there. So he's saying if you are devoted too much to your job, she feels neglected. If you are devoted too much to her, the job feels neglected. So you have to always find a balance here. That's why there is so much a struggle, because and people who would not be able to give their 100%, or because they would need their family life also. So that's why there is that internal struggle all the time. He's saying because these two things are not working towards the same goal. These two things are not working towards. So he's saying in India, people find a job first, and based on that job, now they go to see a girl, and the girl, based on her looks, they will select the girl.
Yeah.
So now this kind of relationship, because the girl, she has totally a different, she is not working towards any goal or anything. She just waiting for her husband to come back from his work. So in this kind of relationship, there will always be extreme tension. He was saying that those relationships will never be smooth, and they will always have a lot of struggle and lot of saying those kind of relationships are not the ideal ones. So he was saying that if you are so the guy was asking what's supposed to be done then how do I get this union. So Acharya ji is saying, forget about the union, forget about that enlightenment, don't talk about the enlightenment. First you look at your condition right now. If you are drunk now, will you be talking about the enlightenment, or will you talk about how should I come out of this drunken state? Because whatever you will talk in the drunken state, it will become another concept for the ego, and the ego will say, let's have one more round of
alcohol.
Yeah, let's have one more toast in the name of enlightenment now. Because ego will try to use any concept for its own advantage. So as long as you remain drunken, anything, whatever you think about is going to be just fictional, because that is a figment from the drunken state is coming into picture. So the first objective is to come out of the drunken state and forget about all the other fancy concepts, because those fancy concepts are not for the one who is drunken. Drunken one can only think about those fancy things. So he was saying, then is there any other, I mean, is there any method to come out of that drunk? And he was saying that's the only method, that you identify your bondages and you cut your bondages and you move away from forming new bondages. So those are the things which are in your hands. You identify, you cut them, cut the cords, and you make sure that you are not forming new ones. That process will clean up the consciousness. Once the consciousness is clean, you will come out of the drunken state. Till that time, your senses will be all
colored.
Yeah.
I was serving, in fact, I am serving on a search committee for CIO of our university. And again and again, I see those patterns of judging others because, and I'm checking myself. So, I mean, it is my job to judge now on the committee, and I'm kind of looking at other people's patterns, my own patterns, the interviewees, anxieties, their insecurities.
That's why this question is very important, the observation. When I'm saying observation, Lina, do you have any take on that? What do you think of observation is? What is it meant in all these spiritual scriptures?
I mean, at the moment, I just kind of see what you all are talking about. I mean, that's just observation without judgment, observation just to kind of build awareness. One of the things that I have tried to do over the, at least since my, I don't know, I guess in the past 20 years, would just be to not judge people. Because again, who am I to judge, right? But I think I learned that lesson somewhere in my 20s. So even now, I try to do that. So when students come to me and they're like, I have a problem, then I try not to judge. Even when they do not the best things, at least in my opinion. But it does begin with awareness, because you might not even be cognizant of the fact that you are doing these things. But once you kind of understand that you are, then maybe you can change that.
Correct.
But if the judgment is happening on its own, like you are not even trying to judge, but the pattern is so strong inside that the judgment is automatically arising within. Somebody is a very snobbish kind of person. So the tone of that person's, it actually creates a judgment inside. Oh, this guy is very cocky, very snobbish kind of. So automatically that is happening. So how do you stop that?
Okay, well, first of all, you stop it. You kind of say, oh, I'm doing it again. Like I better stop doing that. And I kind of try to say, okay, well, I have to learn more from this person about this person to slowly kind of start changing that initial perception. And again, it's not only me. I think that the other person too is going to have to kind of say, how am I coming across to people? Because it's not just on the observer, it's the one who's being put in front of you to be observed to begin with. So what are they doing? And maybe they themselves aren't aware. So it's, I think, a two-way street at the very end of the day. But again, sometimes it just kind of just depends on what you can control, and only you can control what you're doing on your own. And I don't know what's going to happen with the other person. But maybe kind of trying to be a little bit more empathetic and kind of seeing where they're coming from and maybe why they're acting that way, but that's not always easy.
I mean, what the other person is doing, that is not your concern. That you cannot control at all. As you said, like that is beyond your. So let's not even think about that. But what you can control is just you and your own observation. So the more I dwelled on this observation concept, I felt like observation, what we see, observation, when we actually see when we say the word observation, we actually mean our physical eyes. The physical eyes, they are observing something, right? So in spirituality, you have to use the inward eyes. Those are not the physical eyes. Those are the inward eyes. Those eyes are not watching outside, because the physical eyes will keep on recording and it will keep on watching the other thing. There is an inside eye which is always keeping the eye which on the patterns of the mind. That inside eye is very key to this observation, what we talk in spirituality. So when you are actually seeing the outside object, the inside eye is keeping an eye on the patterns, what is arising in the head. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, but doesn't that
More,
involve a lot of training? I mean, you
yeah,
have to
of course. That is why I'm trying to break it out and break it down for you guys, what exactly it actually means, because he'll keep on using all these words, but they mean totally different thing. And if we keep interpreting in our own ways, then we are going to miss the point. So this observation is not more concerned about the physical eye observation, because the outside eye, that is like inevitable, that without any effort it will keep on doing its job. But the observation, what we are talking about and what the sadhana or the practice is all about, is to develop that inward eye. That inward eye, always keep an eye on the moment, like what Vikramji was saying, that okay, the judgment comes in him. So the inward eye is telling him, okay, the judgment are how arisen here. So these patterns are automatically unfolding inside. All kind of things are going on. So that inward eye is keeping an eye. It is not trying to stop it. It is not trying to block it. It is not trying to be. It is just a witness to what is happening. Because that witness, the more that witness is pointed inwardly properly to the point, that process, whatever is happening, is actually happening because nobody was looking so far. But the day you develop that inward eye, that it is always looking, that whole phenomena starts dwindling. It starts drying actually, and at some point you will not see those kind of patterns, those kind of judgments. They will just fall away. The whole chain breaks actually. There's you won't see nothing happening there. Like it will be like absolutely calm sea. And this is a little bit more poetic, but that's how it happens. That you will see an object and nothing will happen inside. It will be because that pointer has become so sharp now that nothing escapes his sight. That pointer is so sharp, it's like a laser gun. Now it is just his presence is making, it's like, I think I gave this example that children were like shouting and doing all kind of mischief in the class. And the principal comes and he just stands at the door. Now some children were under the desk. They don't even have the guts to come out of the desk. They are so stopped now. They totally stopped. Nobody wants to get caught. So this is what happens to all the thoughts. When that pointer is so sharp, it's like a laser gun. This is just looking inside so sharply. All the time it's looking. So nothing really happens. They're like all kind of chaos just disappears. So the role of the sadhak is to develop that gun, that inside gun. And you have to keep practicing it. And initially it will be like an effort. You have to like, okay, all right, you will just see, okay, all right, something inside the voice will be telling you, okay, these patterns are arising, or these judgments are happening, oh, I'm calling this person very rude. I'm calling this person very selfish. Those kind of things will be happening, and it's okay. It starts from there only. More you observe it, more you are aware of it, better it gets after some time. That it becomes effortless.
Well, I have a question. What if somebody is telling you're like you that they're observing something and it's kind of negative, but you don't see it, and or you don't even think that that's even happening, that that's the correct truth?
No, the problem is the ego immediately wants to reject it, because ego doesn't like to be called upon. It does not like to call out. I mean, it does not. It just immediately it rejects. So your first response to those kind of things is take a moment.
Denial.
Don't deny. Don't do nothing. Like take a moment and acknowledge it. Acknowledge it, and you can tell that person that good that you pointed it out, and I will go deeper into this, and I'll see if that is the case. I'm not sure right now. I do not know. It has not come to my observation, or it has not come to my understanding yet. But you may be right, and he could be right. We do not know. He could be right, but you cannot just reject that, because rejection will just throw away the opportunity.
But yeah, but what if you as a person recognize that they are mistaken, because they really are, and it's coming from a place of negativity and or dislike.
Sometimes it could be negativity also, right? Sometimes it could be negativity, but sometimes in that negativity also people tell the truth. I have found that it was very hurtful for me in the beginning when somebody just pointed it out to me, and it just came like a flash. He said something and I was not prepared for it. And it just made me silent. Absolutely, I was silent because I was absolutely stunned by that comment. I was like, man, I never thought something like that about myself. So where he is coming from and what actually made him say that? Maybe he has seen something. And initial reaction was to reject it outrightly. I just wanted to reject it. But then I took a moment and I went into silence and I dwell on it. And I think after a couple of days, it occurred to me that what he was saying, that it has some element of truth somewhere. But it took me some time. The way I was seeing myself or whatever, I could have always overlooked it. It would have never come to my consciousness. But sometimes people see what you don't see. So it's a good practice to go in silence and acknowledge it, and maybe even thank that person. Okay, all right, I will look into this. Thank you for bringing it up to me. So right now I have not seen that, but if there is some truth to it, I will get to the root of this. That's all you can say. That could be the honest response.
Okay.
Go ahead, Vikram.
Others offer as sacrifice their sense of hearing, etc., into the fires of self-discipline. Other yogis again offer sound and other objects of perception into fires of the senses. Let me read because I think 26 and 27 are. Other sacrifices all the function of their senses and the functions of their vital airs, prana, into the fire of yoga, in the shape of self-control kindled by wisdom. 25th भी पढ़ें क्या इसके लिए to get the call?
No, I mean, it is very much.
Clear.
It's talking only about the sacrifices.
Okay.
So others offer as sacrifice their senses of hearing, etc., into the fires of self-discipline. Other yogis again offer sound and other objects of perception into the fires of the senses. Others sacrifice all the functions of their senses and the functions of their vital layers into the fire of yoga in the shape of self-control kindled by wisdom. So what is he talking about, sacrificing the senses into the fires of self-discipline? What do you make out of it, Vikramji? The sacrifice, seeing the senses of hearing. So it could be senses of hearing, senses of sight, senses of touch, or it could be the tongue and everything, whatever you can think about the senses, into the fires of self-discipline. That he is not letting his ears get polluted by something which will pollute the consciousness. He is not letting his eyes see something which will again pollute the consciousness. So his eyes, the ears, all the senses are devoted to only single cause, the self-purification, and by that self-purification, I mean self-negation. Mostly you can say self-negation. So you are seeing it, but you are seeing it in a way that you are negating that thing. You know what I mean? You are looking at it. You're not closing your eye, but you are looking it in a way to dismiss that thing. Spirituality does not give you anything. Spirituality actually takes away whatever is unnecessary, because we are actually holding on to a lot of things which are like burden to our consciousness. And spirituality is all about cleaning up. It does not give you anything, but something which is lost to us, it comes to surface by giving away a lot of things which we are holding on and which are kind of like burden for our consciousness. So he's saying that self-discipline is looking at something, and maybe you can say omit that thing, that it is not understanding that, like here it says kindled by wisdom. The wisdom, you are using that wisdom when you're looking at a particular object, the wisdom is applied, and the wisdom tells you that this is not it. It is not going to give you what your innermost being is pining for. This is not it. So then you reject that thing. So you are not running away from anything, but you are applying all your self-discipline on all the objects, and you are using all your senses in a way to negate those things. That is the self-discipline. You see what I'm saying? That self-discipline is not tying up yourself or something like you are trying to control something. This, no, not like that. Self-discipline is like an inner discipline. It is happening when you are playing with the life. You are interacting with the life. You are not running away from it. You are doing everything, but at the same time, when you are you go very close to that object, you look at that object, you observe that object and everything, and then when your wisdom is applied, it comes to you that this is not it, what your mind is asking for. Your mind is asking for the absolute. Only in the absolute it is going to find the peace. So all these sensory temptations are going to give you some kind of excitement, but it is not the peace. It is not that ultimate peace. So your wisdom is opening up that thing for you, and that is the self-discipline he is talking about. Think about it.
A few days back, it was my birthday on 17th, actually, 3 days back. And I felt there is a lot of happiness, but it is all conditioning. And so-called, it was not happiness, but more like excitement. Because like, there are like 200 people who wished me birthday because I am in that group. So one by one after the other and so on. And every time they say and they bring out some old memory or they say some good words, etc., you feel kind of like pumped up and happy. So-called happy again.
Oh yeah.
I was observing that, and I realized that it is some conditioning from 50 years. Every birthday, happy birthday to you, etc. And honestly, it was like a sense of excitement. And I could tell that how far that was from my natural peaceful state. I mean, it was not painful, but it was just a sensation. And that sensation, I was aware that is short-lived. I lived it through. I mean, I enjoyed it. But at the same time, I was not like yearning for like, so.
I mean, even if you have enjoyed it, you don't really have to feel shy about it. It's fine, because that's the habit. The habit has been cultivated for years.
Right.
So it's not going to just go away.
Right.
In our situation, we can only be a witness.
Right.
There could be a pointer of that witness only on that pattern, which is arising and then falling and arising and falling.
And I mean, there have been several birthdays before too. But earlier, maybe like, Lina may wish and my, immediate family members may wish, and that's about it. Nobody else would even know about it. And that kind of kept me more.
How did these people come to know about it? And most of them, they remember it?
I don't know. That's a surprise to me as well. I mean, how they found somehow. Somebody must have.
Or is it one of your profiles still showing your date of birth or something?
Probably that could be the case too. I'm hardly.
Because this has happened to me like 3 years back, and everybody used to wish me a lot. And all those things. Like I think 2 years or 3 years back, I turned off all my profiles. So nobody knows my birthday. So in my group, when my birthday passes by, nobody wishes me because it is not evident on the Facebook. And it is not evident on Twitter or any other account I have. And people have no way of finding it. And most of the people, they are so caught up in their lives, they will not remember it unless there is a notification or something. See, even for my sister's birthday, I did not remember my sister's birthday until Facebook told me that is your sister's birthday. I think even for Anisa's birthday, Facebook told me that Anisa's birthday is coming in 3 days. So that's how I knew that, okay, that the birthday is coming. So it's something like that. So
I'm very bad with dates. I don't remember anybody's birthday.
Exactly.
Happy future birthday, Anisa, just in case.
No, she is not now. I think that will be next year.
Oh, no, sorry, I missed your birthday. Happy belated.
I mean, I, to be honest, don't even remember. There has been in the past. I didn't remember Lina's birthday, and she kept on hinting, like, you know, she was expecting.
Vikram, are you kidding me? I do not. I did not. I don't really care. But yeah, I'm like, I don't.
No, there is nothing to be ashamed of, Lina. I mean, even
No,
if
but
this
it's
is,
not
I
a
know
shame. It's just,
this is a spiritual
but
get
no,
together, but it does not mean that you
but
are.
no. But I honestly do not remember hinting. Pardon me, and maybe I do have a bad memory because there's other stuff in my brain
I
at the
mean,
moment.
yeah,
But come on,
no, I mean, aren't you forgetting something like that?
I do not recall even giving you any sort of verbal cue or I don't remember. Sorry.
Don't worry about it. Maybe
Maybe
the
I'm.
self-observation phenomena was not activated that time.
Yeah, yeah. No, but I'm
No,
very
that's possible.
I'm honestly very bad with remembering birthdays. I mean, my sister once called me and say, it is my happy birthday. I say, okay, it is yours. Yeah, now I recall. Okay. Then I
So
got confused on my birthday.
No.
I switched off this profile thing
Yeah.
only to see what is going to happen to my central eye tendency for that birthday. What is going to happen? I wanted to see it actually. I mean,
Mm.
so the day came by and not even one person wished me except for Anisa and maybe my daughter. Nobody actually knew that my birthday came. Even my sister had forgotten about it.
Mhm.
And she only remembered after 3 days. She remembered, and that she was like, "Oh, your birthday has just passed." I like,
Mm.
yeah, don't worry about it. She was saying, "How come Facebook was not showing it?" I
Yeah.
say, "Yeah, all the notifications are switched off."
I have forgotten my mother's birthday. I have forgotten my father's birthday. And my father called me like after, like, you know, he was waiting for like 15, 16 hours, and it was like the date was about to change. Then he called me. Today
See,
is my birthday.
See, forgetting other people's birthday does not mean anything because we could be very self-observed. If you
Mm.
forget your own birthday, that is a great thing.
Yeah, that has not yet happened.
Yeah. So
I wish that.
that is a progress.
Mm.
Forgetting
I
other
want to
people,
I
yeah.
want to get to that. Yeah.
Forgetting other, we are always forgetting other people.
I want to get to
That does not make us any great.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you are forgetting your own self,
Mm.
that is like now you have like come to a different level now.
That has never happened.
Well, I do recall that Vikram, one time when he was working over here, he forgot that he had made plans to have coffee with me. And
Yeah.
then he just forgot, pure flat out forgot.
Totally plain.
Right.
I mean, just it was like it was like, you know, like almost amnesia or something, like, you know what? And then I told Lena also at that time, why didn't you remind me or anything? But Lena, you should remember. I mean, this you're supposed to remember if you make an
Yeah,
appointment.
but that's the first time where he goes like kind of like, well, you need to remind me. And I'm like, okay. So little did I know that that was going to be like an ongoing thing, but that's fine.
I
So
mean, it
if
is not with
we need to see if there is something which is very important for ourselves, and that we have forgotten
Mhm.
because we were caught up in something very important, more important than ourselves. So now we have forgotten something which has to be taken care, which will make sure your safety or security, your continuity. That you have forgotten now. Totally, you have forgotten because you were busy with something more important. That is the sign that now the spirituality has really is going in your bones now. It's like now you're forgetting things even related to your body self.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I kind of just chalk it up to that, and it's not that big of a deal, at all, ever.
Yeah.
Alokji, it mentions the 26 and 27 mentions fires of self-discipline, then fires of the senses, and then the fire of yoga. Are they the same thing, or is the intent behind to indicate certain things by fires of
Fire you can
self-discipline?
interpret as truth here. you are sacrificing everything to that fire. Or you can also, when you are actually struggling against yourself, there is a friction. In that friction also, a lot of fire is stoked inside. So you are actually battling against yourself when you're doing something against your senses. There is a lot of fire inside, and you are battling with that fire. So in both the ways you can interpret it.
And what about the functions of the vital airs, prana? That means
Let's just add the functions of the vital airs, prana, into the fire.
that means you don't worry about as much of your security and continuity. Or you give priority to the fire of yoga. Yoga means union with the truth, basically the truth. And for that, your patterns for self-continuity and self-preservation.
Vital airs, prana, I'm not sure about this. I need to check this in the course I'm referring. Actually, I need to check these words because I'm not clear what he actually means by that. And Acharya Ji, I think he has talked about this. I will have to look for these particular words. We can get back to this words later. Some perform sacrifice with material possessions. Some offer sacrifice in the shape of austerities. Others sacrifice through the practice of yoga. While some striving souls, observing austere vows, perform sacrifice in the shape of wisdom through the study of sacred text. So material possession is the lowest kind of sacrifice you can. I mean, for us, material is very great, and we think it is a great sacrifice. Definitely for the ego, for the purification of the ego, it is some kind of sacrifice. But if the ego is trying to gain out of those kind of sacrifice, that sacrifice has no value. Like suppose you are donating something, but you want a big promotion that you donated. That sacrifice has no value.
Or even recognition of this donation, right?
Yeah. And that is how ego normally works. Because even if he wants to give something, it wants a little bit of recognition, little bit of like appreciation, little bit of a talk. Somebody says like, oh, he's done some noble gesture, something like that. It wants it done, and when it does not get it, it does not feel like fulfilled. So denying ego even that little fulfillment and continue with material possession, continue with the sacrifice of material possession, that will be a real sacrifice for the material possession, where ego is not getting anything out of it. So is material sacrifice is actually you are sacrificing a chunk of your ego itself, because ego, the entity, is made up of all these objects, right? All these material objects only make ego. So if you are sacrificing something of your possession which was very dear to you, that is, you are giving away a chunk of your ego. Some offer sacrifice in the shape of austerities. Austerity is like going through the pains of denying oneself different kind of pleasures, different kind of comforts. So some people, in the name of self-disciplining themselves, they put themselves into all kind of austerities, like these kind of extremes. That will give you some kind of discipline, and that will discipline the mind also. But that is also one of the kind of sacrifices talked. And he says others sacrifice through in the practice of yoga. So there are two kinds of yoga, right? One yoga is the union with the truth. And because the union of the truth does not come naturally to you, because you are caught up with your monkey mind. That monkey mind needs to be disciplined. That's why there is another kind of yoga, and that is called Hatha Yoga. The Hatha Yoga is pointed to discipline the monkey mind. It is a practice to discipline the monkey mind by going through different physical exercises, because the mind is so out of place. So it actually gets you in a good shape first. The body, because body and mind are identified, like they are all together. So when your body becomes disciplined, your mind also tends to become disciplined. So that is a process of Hatha Yoga. That has come later. That part of the yoga has come later. The real yoga was only devoted to truth, the union of material with the divine. That is yoga. That part of the yoga. But most of the people, they cannot jump from material to divine. They cannot just move there, because there is this barrier of this mind, of this ego, which needs to be disciplined. So that's why they have to bring in another discipline, that is Hatha Yoga, which we now in the modern times, we normally know yoga only in the form of Hatha Yoga. We do not know the root meaning of the yoga. We just know the external, the Hatha Yoga, which main objective is to discipline the mind. But it starts from the body, because body and mind are identified. They are actually one. They are not separate. So this is other sacrifice through the practice of yoga. While some striving souls, observing austere vows, perform sacrifice in the shape of wisdom through the study of sacred texts. So learning through the scriptures, that is also, it takes a great discipline. So that is also sacrificing a lot of yourself. And you are devoting yourself to the truth. You are going through all these scriptures and lots of reading. And then you are kind of neglecting a lot of other aspects of your physical self. You may be giving up on your sleep. You may be giving up on your food. You may be giving up on your exercise. There are a lot of physical needs of the body. They could be neglected in this process. So that is also a great sacrifice, like totally devoted to the sacred texts. So these are different kinds of sacrifices he has mentioned. Yeah.
Alokji, question.
Yeah.
A child loves candies and toys.
Yeah.
Now at that time, he's sacrificing them. But when the same child becomes an adult, one day he takes all his toys, puts them in a box, and goes to the church and donates it. So it is the same person in a way. The person becomes matured, and the attraction for toys automatically falls on its own. So there is no question of sacrifice. But in this case, it seems like this is being told, this is being told to Arjun. So Arjun is more in the state of a child who is in attachment with the toys. And therefore, from Arjun's perspective, Krishna is saying that you have to sacrifice, Shaman, Daman, you have to give away this toy. Whereas from a matured perspective, there is no question of sacrificing. It is, a toy is a toy. A matured person will not play with
But
toy.
most of the people are not mature, right? They don't see toy as a toy. They don't see garbage as garbage. Now, if you are in the habit of seeing the garbage as something gold, and you will take a lot of time in putting ornaments around that garbage and telling great stories about that garbage. But your mind is not seeing it as a garbage. Only a mature mind can see it as a garbage, right? If it is very clear to you that it is garbage, it is a trash, then there is no sacrifice at all. It just falls away. But as long as it is not a trash for you and it is something very dear to you, even though in reality is a trash, it will take a great ordeal for you to self-sacrifice that thing. It is not an easy thing.
That reminds me, I don't know, it was Acharya or it was somebody else or it was Osho, but probably must have been Acharya. This Mrityunjay, Mahamrityunjay Jap, Trimbakam Maha something. So it is little, but I think it applies to that also. And so the explanation in that discourse, whoever's discourse it was, I remember that they are talking of a wine, bale, and from that we are attached. It is like all of us are joined. We are like kaddu, like those pumpkins, and then there is a thread joining all the pumpkins. And when the fruit is ripe, it detaches from the branch or the leaf or fruit without leaving any trace.
Yeah.
So when you become a ripe fruit, you separate from the tree, where the tree doesn't also know and you also don't know, and the separation happens. Now when the fruit is not ripe and then you pull the fruit, or the fruit is being separated, then there is a mark on the tree. So what Mahamrityunjay Jap is really, that is, people think that it is like, Vijay on Mrityu, like it is victory over death. It is actually, the prayer is that make me so mature that I separate. And then the so-called death, which is immature fruit separation, is, it is not there. So if you are attached to that branch,
then there
and
is
you
a
are
death
not,
for you.
yeah, and if you are not matured enough, if he did not mature in time, I mean that time, see, there is from inception or from the fruition, I mean the starting, and then there is a point until which the fruit becomes ripe and then it separates from the tree. That time is our lifetime. And most of us are do not mature in the process in that time. Only some of us are able to. Most of us are, when they are not ripe, we are suppose we are green apple, And the entire life we remain green apple. And then when the detachment happens, then it is painful to the tree, it is painful to the fruit. So I don't know if it is like it is not relevant here perhaps, but the word sacrifice, this is only for the unripe fruit. All these things apply. If you are ripe fruit, then the material possessions you don't have to sacrifice, but you will simply grow out of them. You might just one day walk away as if nothing is there. Like this reminds me of one more story of Raja Janak. One Muni came to from Ashtavakra Gita. One Muni came to his one sage came to his palace, and all he had was one lime cloth or one kamandal. That's one container and one thing that he wears. So Raja Janak says that let's go and first he asked about something, some spiritual question. He said, let's go and have a dip in the river, and then we will discuss all these things. So when next to his palace they were bathing, and he left his kamandal that was made of wood. Think of that as a wooden pan or wooden pot, and his lime cloth. Then they left it at the shore, and they went into the river. And when they were doing their ablutions, Raja Janak had arranged a part of his palace to be set on fire. And this sage who was visiting him ran because he was afraid that his kamandal and his langot that might get burned. And so Raja Janak told him, see, for attachment, you don't have to be attached. It doesn't mean that even a small kamandal, a wooden pot, is enough to get you attached.
Yeah, for the mind to form that bondage.
Yeah. So his question was, why are you living this lavishly and all this thing? And Raja Janak said, it doesn't matter. I am ready to walk with you right now. All that gold palace and everything doesn't matter. This is the difference between enlightened person and who is not there. So he can just walk away one day. That's it. It's as if nothing is there.
That's what happened with the disciples and Jesus. I mean, that's the way the story goes, that he just asked them, just follow me. And they just said, sure. And didn't worry about anything else. And it just followed.
Very true. Very true. And in that Bible story, then somebody comes and tells him that your father has died. And this fisherman says, give me 2 days or give me 3 days so that I can go and do the rituals, the rites, the final rites. And at that time Jesus said something even more profound. He says, you are talking of 3 days. What will happen after 3 days? Maybe I may not be here, maybe you may not be by that time. Even your father did not know that he will pass away today. Had he known, then why would he have let you come to do fishing? And even if both of us live, what is the point that we will really meet? What surety is that we will really meet? Even if we meet, will we have the intention? Will we have this connection which we have right now? That's a very, very revealing biblical story, that is. And so the story goes that and he says something else. The corpses will cremate the corpse or do the final rites of the corpse. Even the guy who has come to tell you that your father has passed away is himself dead. So you come with me. And then fisherman left the whatever net he had cast. He left the car. He just followed Jesus. That's it. He just walked with him. That's it. Gone. His father, his occupation, everything. Just.
Yeah.
So that is discipleship. Yeah.
Most of the people we are talking about here, they are having these, I mean, they are not wise. First thing, they are not mature. So they have to start somewhere. And if you are not using your inner eye, the self-observation, the chances of you getting mature in this lifetime, that is not going to happen. You remember that that porn magazine or something, the guy is like, I think, debonair or something. And this guy is a very old man, and he's fascinated by women's body so much. So he's at the age of 18, 95, he was still sleeping with naked women or whatever. So even if you are in that age also, it does not mean that you are tired of the toys. Your toy is still not a toy for you. It's something which is giving you some kind of divine pleasure. So you are not seeing a toy as a toy. You are not seeing a toy as something rubbish. Even your whole lifeline, your whole lifetime has passed now. So that is why you have to start somewhere. Unless you know the taste of this self-sacrifice in the light of wisdom. I mean, the wisdom has to be there. When you are sacrificing, wisdom has to be there. That inner eye needs to be there, which will continuously observe your patterns when you are giving up on something which is very dear to you. What is happening to your consciousness? What is happening to your mind? What is happening to your tendencies? That observation will purify. It is like a fire. The observation is like a fire. It will purify, and a lot of rubbish will be burnt in that process. So that is why that sacrifice is like a fire. The fire, that self-observation becomes like a fire, and in the process of sacrificing, a lot of rubbish arises inside. That rubbish burns away. That is why these sacrifices are very important. Without those sacrifices.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Lina, tell me.
So it's almost like a purification.
Purification, yeah. Because otherwise you will never know. As long as you keep on holding to it, like that old guy, keep on holding to it like something. At the age of 90 also, he is not ready to let go. He has not grown past that. Those are like candies for him, even at the age of 90. So this is like an absolutely corrupted mind. Now you cannot do anything. I mean, your whole life is, you are just played with the toys, and you are dying also with the toys now. I mean, you grew up with the toys, and all your life you kept playing with the toys, and now on your deathbed also you have toys. So what did you achieve in this life? Nothing. There was no wisdom there. So that's what I'm trying to say, that unless we execute this process of sacrificing willingly material possession, even start with the small one, but it has to be dear one, not the ones Vikramji has talked about. Like now the kid is playing with those toys, but now those toys have become meaningless to him. Now he's donating it to something. No, not like that. The toy may not be toy for you. When you are giving up on that toy, it is still dear to you, but nevertheless you give up on that. Nevertheless you give away.
But I mean, technically, even if we grow out of things as kids, we replace them with adult toys.
Okay, exactly.
And adult versions of toys.
So that is why I'm saying the adult version of the toy, which is very dear to you at this moment, you have to learn to sacrifice that as a material possession. And what chaos happens inside the consciousness, that needs to be gone through with the self-observation, the fire of self-observation. Then only there is a chance of any purification.
And this also reminds me of the idea of the phoenix, that only through burning and kind of like of the shell, if you will, does the phoenix, or is a phoenix able to
Correct.
be reborn, you
Yeah,
know, so that
reborn.
whole idea of, you know, rebirth, I guess.
Right. So unless we implement this, unless we practice it, and I would just say, like, start with something very small first. Bigger things will follow later, but first need to start with something small.
So here there is no, I mean, this is something you are saying very at a very ground level, practically.
Ground level, yeah.
There is no. So, for example, if I like dosa, perhaps, then just for, like, you know, just to don't eat dosa or give up on dosa, something like that, right?
Yeah, give up on, yeah, I mean, that is
Something, whatever at that time you are liking,
yeah,
you kind of consciously deny yourself, and then as a result there is yearning and all those things arise. You observe that.
exactly.
I mean,
last week I was giving you the example of I sacrificed my bed because Anya captured that bed, and that bed was extremely dear to me. Trust me, I have never slept on any other bed, and anytime I would sleep on any other bed, I would not fall asleep. We have visited to so many hotels, and hotels also, they have very nice luxurious bed, but I was not finding that sleep which I always get on my bed. So I was very much attached and clinging to that bed. And this is like a stroke of Maya or something, or Prakriti, that Anya happens to fall in love with that bed, and now she I try to give her whatever makes her happy, and at the same time I did not have any argument there that I will enjoy all the luxuries and she's deprived of something. So I just did not feel right. Like I was trying to convince her, okay, to go back on her bed. I could have been very hard, but that could have been bullying me because I'm in that position. So I just said, okay, all right. And trust me, it took me many days before I could find my sleep. So
But
that
you
was
kept
like,
observing your patterns.
it was, yeah, it was observing my patterns. It was observing my helplessness, the weaknesses of my body, how my body has become like a slave to that bed. And it was kind of enlightening. I was like able to see it like, oh my God, this is so helpless, like hopeless, actually. But yeah, I mean, incidences like these can actually get you to that point of like, okay, the purification process happens.
Same thing with me. I have got this. I have to have the bed sheet has to be of cotton, and I have gone to extreme lengths. I'm finding out 100% real cotton. In America, it is virtually impossible to find such bed sheets, but I have somehow found. But probably that is something I can work upon. I even take my bed sheets to hotels.
Oh yeah. So
To that
yeah,
extent, I am
the
attached to it. It has to be cotton.
obsession will continue, and obsession goes at greater lengths in different areas. So if we are not observant, we would never know that these kind of patterns we are carrying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that. I'll work on that. Yeah.
So this number 28 is important in that sense, because it will remind us that on a material level, we have to practice some kind of self-sacrifice.
Some discipline. Yeah.
Some discipline. Okay. So I think, is it time already?
Yeah, it's about
almost 9
yeah.
and close to 10 where you all are at.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. For you, it should be close to 10. Yeah, yeah. well, I think.
That's good.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
And
good.
tomorrow we will be having our MAG session.
I think so.
probably.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Mike will be
So we will set up, and if Lina wants to join, she can also probably. We
Sure.
will set up the
What time do you know?
there. Don't know much. I think it is about 12:30, 1 o'clock, or maybe 1:30 sometimes. I mean,
this-
this is our time, so I'm not sure. Your
Oh,
time will be
okay.
1 hour behind.
Yeah.
What time the CR started?
Today, I think it happened around 12:30 our time.
12:30. Yeah, so it was 1:30 for me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so around that time.
Mhm.
Okay, so I think it's a Thanksgiving week.
Yes, you all enjoy if you all celebrate. Me
Yeah.
too, Anissa.
Definitely we will have something. I'm not sure what it is. Yeah.
Go for key.
Yeah, we do not know, but yeah, there will be something, some celebration, but not sure about the next week. Probably we could be in the middle of something. I'm not sure. If we are home, then probably we'll.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
Yeah. But, yeah, this week is like mostly. I think my daughter is going to be a whole week. She'll be home, so
Nice.
there'll be some kind of planning. So we don't know what she wants to do. Okay. We have like maybe a couple of days of office, and then I think Anissa is also like a couple of days of office.
Yeah, we have to go in Monday and Tuesday over here. Yes.
Yeah.
But not Wednesday, right?
No, Wednesday's already.
Wednesday we have like half day.
Okay.
So, well, my class is at 11, so that.
No, but Wednesday is a reading day, so that you don't have classes either. So you
Oh.
just have class Monday.
Okay.
Our work is like namesake on Wednesday. I think it's like people are just waiting for that 12 o'clock, and then
half days people go there, have coffee,
Yeah.
do something, talk about here and there. Oh, it's noon.
It's noon. Bye.
you guys have to go to office. We are just working
No,
from
I-
home. So
Oh, okay. No,
Yeah.
our office is also.
we have been given a
Face to
mandate sort
face.
of thing that from January 10th they are opening the office, but it is not mandatory for everybody to come. I mean, they are welcoming everybody, but they are not saying that you have to come. They're saying pick a day or maybe 2 or something like that if you want
That
to
is
come.
generally, yeah.
Yeah.
So bring some semblance of like going to workplace at
Hmm.
least once a week. So it keeps you also happy. I mean, I like that.
You
At
like
least
going. Yeah.
two days a week at least I must go. That keeps me like grounded, and then Sunday feels like Sunday, weekend feels like weekend. Otherwise,
No, I mean, I wouldn't mind remote work, but now I have to go 4 days a week, so, and sometimes even 5. So I would prefer remote.
you are overworked, Lina. Lina works tremendous. I mean, her work.
No, I think we all are. And I'm just glad that next week is Thanksgiving week. That's all I'm happy about.
Good deal.
Yeah. All right. So enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Yeah, enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Oh, you too, Anissa.
Holiday
You too.
weekend.
Yes, you all be safe.
Yep. And we'll see. We'll catch up maybe next week or following.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll meet
Yeah, no worries.
tomorrow also. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
And happy birthday belated to you, Vikram.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Vikram.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Last week.
Yes, thank you.
Near the snowy
ठीक है,
mountain.
आलोक जी,
Okay.
फिर-
Chalo.
Okay. Good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.